pre-review review. What'd you think?
Not bad.
Yeah, liked it. Good stuff. Good stuff. Pre-review review. What'd you think?
I liked an awful lot of it. Some of the time switching thing was very confusing to me. And that right there at the end was just, why? You know, why?
Rebuttal.
Yeah.
You're a great conversationalist. Have I ever told you that in all the years I've known you?
Yeah.
All right, back with the real review later. Hey, so welcome to the real review. I want to thank Matt and Elizabeth for doing the little pre-review review. It's going to be one of my goals that one day I'm going to do one of these reviews with someone else. I don't know how I do that though. If I'm driving, someone have to hold the phone or the computer up or whatever. But it's going to happen. Well, I want to get Matt on this really bad, So first step, baby steps, baby steps, baby steps. So anyway, just leaving The Arrival, which is weird. Which this whole film will make you just start seeing things in circular time. This is going to be a hard one to talk about in a way because I don't want to talk too much about the plot or about kind of what is, what it kind of revolves around, because that ruins it for you. I think you need to go into it fresh. Earlier today, I saw that one of my favorite online critics, Movie Bob, did a review of it, and he came on, and he always comes on at the beginning and says, spoiler alert, and normally it doesn't bother me, but this time, I don't know, something made me go, okay, you know what, I'm not gonna watch this right now. I wanna see the movie for myself, and I'm really glad I did, because I think if I'd heard the review first, I think it would have taken a little bit of that wonderful spontaneousness and kind of the mind-blowingness of it at the end. Oh, look, the party's in the background. There you go. So I'm glad I didn't. So with that in mind, I'm going to say up front that I'm going to try my best to not give spoilers to this. I don't want to give spoilers. I'll talk about the movie itself and just kind of what I thought, but I don't want to talk too much about the story. But just in case something slips out, I'll give you my opinion at the top, and kind of say turn it off, and then go see it, and then you can come back. It's good. I really liked it. It's very different from a lot of sci-fi that's out there right now. It's kind of one of those rare jewels that comes along. It has some pacing problems, but on the whole, really good. So yeah, go see it. If you're a fan of things like The Day the Earth Stood Still or Gattaca or any of those kind of higher concept sci-fi pictures, then this will work for you. If you're someone who wants to go see it and just see the explosions, you're not going to have a good time. But if you like good meditative sci-fi, I think you're in for a treat. We don't get a lot of these anymore. So that's the kind of the bullet points. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail. So if you don't want any unnecessary spoilers, you might want to pause me now and then go see the movie and then come back. But again, I'm going to try my best to keep it straight. So if you've seen the trailers, you kind of get what the basic plot of this is that one day, not unlike the beginning of Independence Day, spaceships just arrive on Earth, and Amy Adams, who is this world-renowned linguist, is recruited to try to communicate with the aliens. And the film is basically about her learning to communicate and what that communication leads to. So, again, trying really hard to talk about this without spoiling anything. Again, the movie is really, really well done. Really well made. Cinematography of it is gorgeous. Like they picked all these really nice scenic spots for the ships to land. Maybe that's a good way to kind of go about this. Is comparing this to other Alien films. I think one of the things I really like about this film is that it is coming from a point of view that we don't see very much. Normally, with an alien movie, you're expecting them to be, hostile, for it to be an alien invasion, for it to be Independence Day, basically. And this is not to knock Independence Day. I love Independence Day, nothing against it. But we don't get many alien or sci-fi films where the story is not the explosions and how do we overcome our adversities through to fight a common enemy and all this nonsense. We don't get one that is more meditative and is really trying to show you a little insight into the human condition. And I think this movie did this really beautifully in the way it's paced, in the way it's filmed, in the point of view it's coming from. This movie, on the surface, from the trailers and the posters and all that, it's looking like this huge alien epic. But when you go through the film and you see the plot points and everything kind of comes together, it turns out that it's not. It's actually not any. It has nothing or very little to do with that. It is a story about humans and about the human condition and about how we view life and loss and, the choices we make and would you make this choice and whatnot. And it does that in a really beautiful way. And you don't see a lot of movies like that. The closest ones I can think of to kind of compare it to, the ones I kind of mentioned earlier, The Day the Earth Stood Still, or Gattaca, one of my favorite movies, which even though Gattaca didn't feature aliens, it still used the sci-fi backdrop and all that to tell you a human story. Not to get off on too much of a rant here, but this is what the Star Trek reboots never understood about Star Trek. Is that what made Star Trek different? It made its movies different. What made all of its shows different is that, yes, it had space battles. Yes, it had fancy ships. Yes, it had, seducing green women and all this nonsense. I keep using nonsense tonight. I'm not sure what that's about. But anyway, it has all that. But all of that is used to put up really human stories about what it means to be alive, what it means to be a person, both the positive and the negative. And that's why I love Star Trek. That's why I always hated it when people were like, oh, those Star Trek movies, there's too much debate, blah, 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 blah. That's what made it good. And that's what makes this movie good, is that in the end, it is about a person, and it is about their life and what they do with it. And that's about all I feel comfortable saying in terms of the plot. But I think that it's so refreshing to see that, So getting back to the point I was making before I got off on this tangent is that, kind of, again, thanks to Independence Day and other films, what we're used to seeing are like these aliens ships like showing up and hovering over major cities. And here they set the tone right away. The except for like one or two examples, the ships are hovering over large picturesque fields or beautiful mountain landscape or over the ocean. There's only one instance, and I'm not sure where it was, but only one of them is actually hovering over a city. The director really loved some of the shots he put up there, because he had some beautiful shots, and the special effects are just really great in this. kind of like The Martian a few years ago with Matt Damon. Another film that puts out there, again, kind of in the contrast to Independence Day. Again, Independence Day and films like it put up the, nothing is going to unite us like a common enemy. That we as people will rise up against adversity. And what this film tries to tell us is that, no, we can actually come together for more. I'm trying to think of the word. My brain is, I've got it right on the tip of my tongue, but I can't quite grab it. For more altruistic purposes. I don't know if I'm using the word right. It's late, sorry. That good things can happen even when there's no enemy to fight. So, I think that really does it justice. It's not all great. I can't like jump up and down and go it's all really beautiful. I think one of the problems again is the pacing of it. It's very slow. It's a very slow film. And one of those movies, I think, now the slowness and the pacing actually pays off and has a reason behind it once you get to the end. I think once you get there, it's like, okay, that's why we were doing that. But getting there, you got to be patient. And maybe it's just because, again, I at least am so used to, films where the aliens come and blow everything up, that, when there's got an alien spaceship hanging there and nothing's blown up, you kind of start going, okay, how are we filling this time? So I think the pacing is good, but good once you get through it, but as you're getting through it, it's this kind of, okay, a little antsy. So that's a thing. I also think that the only real problem I can give to this film, and it's not the actor's fault, I think it's the direction that they're given, is this is one of those films that equates realistic direction or realistic acting with a lot of dead-eyed, monotone talking. Amy Adams, who's a good actor, and she's really good in this, but she spends a lot of the film just very, very monotone and very just kind of looking ahead and, and that kind of thing. And, Jeremy Ratner is kind of like the two, another good actor. The actor who gets the short end of the stick here is Forrest Whitaker, whose character really doesn't do much. And you wonder, this colonel character that he's playing, it's like, he doesn't really do that much, so why again did you pay Forrest Whitaker money, an Oscar winner? Why did you pay Forrest Whitaker money for a role that, you could have probably gotten a way cheaper actor to get, But that's just me. I like Forrest Whitaker a lot, and I was kind of disappointed that he didn't do much in the film. And the fact that they're all doing it, they're all kind of, in that deadpan kind of thing, makes me think it's a directorial choice. That he thinks this is what makes it more realistic, and I don't believe that is true. I think it makes it a little bit blander, But then again, kind of, what's the interesting thing about doing these reviews? Since they're train of thought kind of things. I'm thinking about things as I'm talking. Then again, the blandness might have been, might have been part of the plan. Because again, while a lot of the cinematography is very beautiful and a lot of the landscapes are very beautiful, the color palette and everything is very muted. So it could be that they wanted that blandness, maybe to counterbalance kind of the awesomeness of what is happening. It's a very interesting film. And it takes into account a lot of things, like how the media is going to respond if when something of this magnitude happens, and kind of showing both the positive of it and the negativity and how it can kind of fan the flames of a tense situation. like stuff that we have seen recently. This is a political free zone, so I'm not getting in any of that. But I think we all know what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's really hard to kind of describe this one, really. Just that I wish we got a few more films like this. I wish we had people who could take the sci-fi genre and do kind of what it is best at, and that is using it as a backdrop to tell human stories. This is something, again, Star Trek mastered, but people like Rod Serling with the Twilight Zone, they laid the groundwork for that, of using kind of the spooky, eerie backdrop, not so much to scare us, but to teach us a little something, to show us kind of a little insight into our own psyches, for good or ill. And this is not to say that I don't love a good White House explosion, good aliens vaporizing the White House kind of thing. And it's not to say I don't love any of that. Just to say, in movies with aliens, not saying in real life. Nobody call the cops on me for that statement. Anyway, not to say that that's not enjoyable, not to say it's not great. It's just, it's really refreshing when you see a film like this that says, no, we're going to tell you a very intimate and a very personal story, but we're going to use huge aliens as kind of a means to that end. So this is a unique film. It's a very unique film in that regard. I'm sure there's others I'm thinking of, but nothing comes to mind right away. I guess as I was talking, also Planet of the Apes, the original Planet of the Apes, and all those series. While yes, they had the big action, they were about bigger ideas, So, but again, it's soft company that it's in, with those really contemplative science fiction films. Yeah, man, I want to talk more about this, but I can't. Just because A, I really don't want to spoil it for anybody, and B, it's one of those movies that it's kind of hard to talk about, because it is one of those ones that you just kind of want to sit back and think about, especially when let's call it a twist for lack of better terminology, but it's not a twist like in a Shyamalanian kind of way where it's trying to make up for a weak premise. But when the twist happens, it is one of those twists that makes you go back and reevaluate kind of everything you saw previously. Go, So, getting ready to pull into the old homestead here. So I think this one might have stretched out a little bit longer than it needed to. So I'm sorry to everybody who's kind of might be sitting there going, "Wow, he's just kind of rambling." But when you get right down to it, this is a really good movie. And I was really happy also to see how many people were in the audience. I didn't know if this kind of film was going to find an audience, and it looks like it was pretty packed in there tonight. So I hope that means that as many people kind of walked away with it with that same kind of sense of, wow, God, it has been so long since I've gone to the movies and left really thinking about things, really about what the story was saying, about the way it was told, and man, it's a refresher. It's a bit of a mind screw, really, because again, there's a lot of things that you just make your head go like literally around and around and around. But it's interesting not to have things just kind of spoon-fed to you, and the things that you now have to gives you some not so much issues, but just some ideas to think about. And I really have missed that. I think it's been a long time. I can't think of the closest one I can think of that I left feeling this way is, I think Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which that was years ago. Almost a decade at least, I think. So it's been a while for me. At least that I can remember. There might be some other ones in there, but I can't pull them out right now. So my advice to you, to anybody who's wondering, should I go see this movie? Yes, dust off your thinking cap, as my reading in the content area teacher would say, and go in ready to contemplate some very interesting topics about existence. And I hope I'm not overselling it, but I really love that, again, very personal, very intimate story with a really unique backdrop and a really great way of getting there. So I really dug this film. So I advise you all to go check it out and just let the contemplation come there. So thank you for joining me. I thank Matt and Elizabeth for going with me and for lending their views to the pre-review. We're going to get you guys on this show one day. You just wait. It's going to happen. So thank you all. Enjoy the rest of your Veterans Day weekend. And until next time, drive safe, and I will see you at the movies.